All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the third episode of Dunk Talk, the new podcast. If you guys do not know me, my name is Dylan Haugen, and I am a dunker from Minnesota. And today we have our first dunker interview with our special guest and close friend of mine, Hunter Castona. So, Hunter, if you want to introduce yourself.
So my name is Hunter Castona. I am a 21-year-old dunker from Wisconsin. Um, I've been friends with Dylan for about, what do you say, about over a year
Almost,
now.
probably around a
Yeah,
year, yeah.
probably around a year. So I commented on some of his videos. We kind of kept in touch, and then obviously we've had 3 sessions together now. So
Yes, sir.
and he's probably my best friend coming with the dunk community. So
Yeah. But yeah, guys, so we're just going to be talking about Hunter's journey. He's had a pretty insane journey, especially the last year.
yeah,
Went from being a pretty crappy dunker, still is a pretty crappy dunker, but
yeah,
he got a little better. Went from like windmills to under both in a year, so pretty
yeah. It is
unheard
what
of
it is.
progress. But yeah, I'll just start by saying like my first memory of Hunter was I was watching him on TikTok, and that was the only platform he was on at the time. I'm pretty sure. And at the
Yep.
time, he was doing some one-handers, some two-handers, um, some windmills, and I remember specifically he got his first 360, and that was like the first video I like remember seeing of him was him getting his first 360.
Was that my
Um,
one hand? Was that my one
yeah,
hand
your one hand
360?
360,
Yeah,
and then I told you to do two hand.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, after a while we started. We were talking on TikTok just through like comments and stuff, and eventually, he reached out to me on Instagram and we were talking and he asked me if he should make a like Instagram dunking account because that's kind of where I would say the majority of the dunk community is. And obviously I encourage every dunker to kind of share their progress with people. And so yeah, he got that going and then he's just been going crazy since. So yeah, after that we met at camp like he said. And then he came here in September for a session, in October, and then what was it? March, April?
It was March. Yeah, March.
Yeah, late March he came back here. And a lot has happened in that time
Oh yeah.
span. So I guess we'll just start by saying like how did you start like your dunk journey? Like what was your introduction to dunking, to basketball? Like how did it even start for you?
So growing up, I don't know, you kind of touch base on you with like different sports. So I played basketball, baseball, and football growing up. I started with football for sure. Football and baseball, I'm pretty sure, and then I kind of got into basketball, I believe, third or fourth grade. And then I kind of fell in love with basketball. I think in my fifth grade year, I was always low rimming as that at that time as well, just kind of how you were. And that's kind of how I guess fell in love with it. But it was like I would say I was just outside with my friends, just having fun. Like it
Yeah,
was basically I wasn't like again I didn't know about the pro dunk scene. I didn't know dunking was a thing. I was just having fun on a low ring
yeah,
with my friends. So
yeah. I did the exact same. Lower room games with your friends, like it's it just seems like something that people will just do for fun, and it's like, kind of dumb when you like would really think about it, but honestly, I credit a lot of my
oh yeah,
ability to dunk in games just because of those games. Like, if you don't have experience dunking in any type of game, there's no way you're dunking in a real game. So, um, yeah.
yeah.
Who would you
It's
say like the first like dunker that you saw that like got you into like
oh it was
specifically
for sure
dunking? Like for
Jordan
me, Jordan, Michael
for
Jordan,
sure
or
Jordan. No, Jordan Kilgannon.
like what about NBA? Because like for me,
So
it
I don't
was
really
like,
think there was for me. I don't really think there was really any NBA players that really got me into it, except for I mean, obviously outside was Jordan, and then I kind
mm,
of got into the NBA type.
when did you first see Killian?
I want to say maybe like 8 years ago, something like that.
So how old are you then? You're like 13?
Yeah, something like that.
I was the
That's
same,
the other
except the
thing.
first time I saw him, it was like me talking to him. Like I didn't even like
Yeah,
look at his dunks. So
yeah. Me and my dad used to watch his YouTube like all the time, and kind of found him out through that way. Obviously, he had some viral clips over the years with the
yeah,
Toronto All-Star
All-Star
game. Then you
game.
had the Gary Payton video, and plenty of other ones as well. But that's
Yeah, so many.
kind of started it. So,
Yeah.
but like, and then so basically, I kept doing the whole low rim dunking thing with my friends. I kept obviously playing basketball. And then obviously, if you're a basketball player, I can guarantee you want to be able to dunk on 10 feet. That's just how it is. So
Yeah.
me being doing that, I always try working up to that, like obviously touching net, touching backboard, touching rim, whatever, building up. And then I got my first dunk when I don't know if it was I think it was either eighth grade or freshman year, which was 15,
Mm.
I think. Yeah, 15. So, um, but so I obviously got that first dunk. Um,
Mm.
and then you kind of touch base with being in practice. You just always just whenever you had free time, before
Yeah. And
practice,
I
after
think,
practice,
I mean,
breaks,
if
whatever.
we, yeah, if we're gonna break down what you said so far, I think that it generally matches up with like
Oh yeah.
all of the pros and me as well. I mean, um, I think a lot of the pros specifically talk about how when they were a kid, they did a ton of just like low rimming, playing with their friends, and then just like kind of
Yeah.
like what you just said, like jumping like every chance you get, basically. Which now is the reason that my knees hurt all the time. But you know, it also is
Yeah,
the
I
reason
can
that I
attest to
jump.
that.
It also is the reason that I jump pretty high. So I mean, that's a huge thing. And
Yeah,
it's
and
it's
then
really it's really cool to see the correlation between everyone. I mean, it makes sense and just kind of,
it does.
yeah, it proves all the points that I try to tell people. So
And it's like the thing is, like you said, is that we didn't realize that this stuff was a thing until later on. We were just
mhm.
being kids, just having fun. And like, I know some people in the community said like, "Oh, my parents didn't let me because they're just like, oh, it's pointless. You got to be shooting on 10 feet to practice
Exactly,
that
yeah.
way." So like, a lot of kids actually weren't able to do what we did. So
Hmm. I mean, yeah, I think that's just it's super beneficial. Like I promise, if I have kids, if I have
oh
kids,
yeah,
like they are like they're only playing on 7.5. Not only,
100%.
but like especially
Yeah,
when they're
but
young, like bro,
just have fun. That's just the biggest thing. I mean, low rims are
it's really
like
all it is.
obviously for me, I do it for practice now, but
Yeah,
at the time it
but
was just me having
especially,
fun and just trying different stuff. So
yeah, especially because like people who push their kids like to just play on 10 feet and then like first of all they fall out of love with the sport. That's very common. Is like, a kid will, play and then they'll just stop enjoying it at some point. So you have to have fun while you're doing it. But then also a lot of parents don't realize or aren't willing to admit that like your kid's not making the NBA. Like
it's a very slim
I
chance.
truly believe
Very.
that no matter how hard I work or would have worked, like there was no chance I'd make the NBA. And I
Yeah,
know I'm
same
only
with me.
16,
It's
but
like
like it's just people don't understand how insanely difficult that is. And
exactly.
so it'd be, in my opinion, it's much more beneficial to just have fun with it instead of stressing over something that could very possibly be like out of the conversation.
Yeah,
So
unless you are like a top prospect or something, but like
I mean,
obviously that's
yeah,
a whole
it's
different
if you're
story.
like 6'10", then
That too,
go
be a height.
go dunk on 10 feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for most people, I feel like when I turned probably 13 was when I realized like, okay, I got no chance.
Yeah,
I feel like
but
that's
that's also
when
when
I
you get your
realized,
first dunk too. So
yeah, but
I
getting a
mean,
one hand tip in doesn't mean you're making the league. So
so that's 13. Like
yeah,
it's
I know it's
pretty unheard
different,
of.
but
It's pretty
that's
unheard of to
still,
get a first dunk at 13, especially when you're
yeah,
5'8". That's
yeah,
pretty
but
unheard of as well. But
yeah, definitely. But it's still like I truly believe that I had no chance of making the NBA. And I know that some people are like, oh, you have to believe, but I'm still confident that like there's literally no
exactly,
shot. Like a 5'10" guy making the NBA with average genetics, like just not gonna happen. So
yeah,
I'd say, yeah, if you're a young kid, especially between the ages of like 10 and 15, bro, just go have fun. Like at
be
that
a kid.
age, knee pain is so hard to get. Well, I'd say like between 10 and 13.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that. That's
You don't even jump high enough to get knee pain at that age, but you can build up the technical skill, the technique, and then obviously like the dunk technique as well. So it's one of the
Yeah,
most
that's a
beneficial things
huge
you can do
thing.
for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're just
So I mean,
resilient, so you can basically do it a ton too. Like
okay.
being that
So
young, you can just do it a ton.
you can
So
do it a lot more often. Yeah. So I mean, obviously we're talking about you started dunking around low rims like since you were very young, obviously, and you got your
I'd
first
say
dunk
like
when you were
in between 8 to 10 is probably when I
okay.
started like low rims.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. So you got your first dunk at 15. How tall were you then?
I don't exactly remember, but I'm gonna say probably like 5'9" at the shortest, maybe 5'11" at the
Okay.
tallest. So
So what would you put your vertical at that age?
at that age, whew, that's the thing. I was a 1 foot jumper at the time, so
Hmm.
I'd say, well, how much?
Well,
I don't
what's
even know
your
how much
what's your
vertical.
what's your reach now?
It's
Eight
like
one.
8 feet or something, some
Oh,
in
it's like
between
eight and
eight
a.
and 8'1".
Oh yeah, it's like 8.5 inches or something.
Yeah,
So let's just say it was let's just say it was seven. Let's just say it was mine, 7, 10.5, and you
yeah.
touched like 10.6, and that gives you around a 24,
I was about to say like probably like
25 and a half, like 32, 34. Let's just say 34. Probably 30, between 32 and 34, I'd say.
I don't think it was that high, but
Really? All right, well, let's just
no.
say
I mean,
30, 32.
I tested 37 and a half at
37.
camp.
That's true. Yeah, that
So
is crazy.
there's no way that my first dunk was
I
it
will
was
say you
definitely
you
low
probably
20s.
you probably only got your hand light here.
Oh, I probably literally got my fingertips like this. That's
You
probably
said
where I got it.
low 20s though?
Probably. I have long arms, so
Yeah, but if you're touching 7, 10.5, like the math would be 2 feet at least.
I don't know.
All right, so probably around,
I know it wasn't very high at all. Let's
yeah,
just say
let's just
that.
say like 30, 30 around that.
That's probably generous still, but
Yeah, all right, whatever. 30. So at that time, to get to a 30-inch vert, would you say like you literally just jumped? That's about it.
so that and then also I did a lot more functional training. So not really any. It was. I mean,
Okay.
it was strength training, but like it wasn't like how like power cleans, squats, stuff like that. It was more of training like how to be a better basketball player. So with
Hmm.
balance and like different types of movements in that way. Also, my knee pain was really bad, so I was trying to fix my knee pain as well.
Okay.
So
What
I
were you
kind of
doing? What were you doing then, by the way? And did it work?
um I remember what I did to be honest. It was
Like,
so
was it like
long.
flexibility or was it like ISOs?
It was
Because we know how one of them goes.
yeah, flexibility. Like I did flexibility through different movements and
Okay.
different types of range of motion with weights. Um, but I think probably the biggest thing I did was probably like some type of slow, eccentric type
Okay.
of movement for my
That's
knees.
not bad then. I figured it would be
Yeah,
worse.
it was.
When
It
I when
wasn't.
I first when I first had knee pain, I was like on the floor laying like on my knees and like bending backwards, like basically like stretching. Like it was
Yeah,
terrible, bro. It was so
yeah,
bad. And I thought it helped at the time, but it helped for about like a minute. And then it was worse.
yeah,
So I mean, I mean, we can just say this right now. Like if you're experiencing knee pain, first of all, figure out what type of knee pain it is, and then
yep.
just do the ISO that corresponds with it. Like there's not
Or some type of like slow eccentric
yeah,
variation, like a squat or something.
yeah,
But
yeah. Anyway, so you had knee pain. You were doing general work, but not really anything that was. I
any
mean, it probably
crazy, yeah,
helped you like be a more balanced athlete and a more like
yeah.
just be better at the dunk technique and all that stuff, kind of. But probably did not increase your vertical ton, maybe an inch or two.
Oh, it definitely no. I
Um,
did increase my vertical a lot.
you think?
Yeah, I went
Okay.
well because the thing is I was a 1 foot jumper at the time. Then I did all this
Hmm.
type of training, and that's how I developed my 2 foot because I learned how to land.
So when did you
So I learned
start?
how to
When did you switch to 2 foot?
basically almost right after I got my first 1 foot dunk. It was probably like 6 months after
Hmm.
I started being able to dunk off of two, or maybe it was a year after, something like that. It was in between 6 months and a year after I got
Okay.
my first dunk, and it was like I was doing a lot of stuff so that was working on like how to absorb, how to use your body, stuff like that, and then also doing like the plyometrics. Like it was a very high plyometric type of
Mm,
training. So
okay. So yeah,
so
still
I
just a lot of
definitely
jumping
increased.
though.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of jumping. So that's great. So like throughout high school, you got your first dunk at 15. You were playing, you played basketball until what, junior? Junior year?
Yeah. So I played AU as well all throughout my high school
Okay.
years and obviously middle school. But
Mm,
um, yeah. So basically, junior year of high school, that was my last high school season, and then junior year of like or the last part of junior in the summer was my last AAU season, and then I stopped playing basketball.
yeah. Um, what was I gonna say? Did you did you notice your vertical go down quite a bit during basketball season? Or did you like even have,
I didn't
or was it
really
just
increase. It was kind of the same. Like I was getting rim
mm,
grazers. Like I was not consistent at dunking like at all.
yeah,
I started. I think I got my first windmill my junior year. I think.
yeah.
Um, and
Sounds right.
then something like that. Yeah. But so for my senior year, I didn't
How tall were you
play
then, by
like
the way? Were you around this
I
height?
think I was probably 6 foot. Yeah, 6 foot, six
Six
one
foot, six
around.
one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
And
I was probably more 6 foot. Yeah.
at that point, did you change your training or no, or still around just same stuff, just jumping?
No, I was at that point I wasn't doing anything then because my junior year I was still in season, so I was still doing that type
Mm,
of training, and then obviously I quit basketball, so there's just no point of me doing the training
yeah,
when I was just literally hooping at like it's called Princeton Club, but it's basically a YMCA.
yeah.
I was
I
just
remember
hooping
that
there for
gym.
like I think I was hooping there for 2 maybe 3 years,
Yeah.
something like that.
So you
So
stopped playing basketball senior year. What did you do during that year? Like, did you continue like playing basketball here and there? Did you go all in on dunking, or were you still like not sure, like
no,
the route that you wanted to take?
I was still hooping. I was hooping every day. I didn't work out at all. So I was hooping
Mm,
every single day. Obviously, I still basically, whenever I got a chance to dunk, I would go and dunk. So basically,
yeah,
I would go to the gym, play a couple runs, and then after the runs were done, or like in between games, I would go and basically try to dunk.
yeah,
And that's kind of how I fell in love with the type of dunking stuff. And then obviously with that, I was a big, like, I still am a big lob guy. So and that obviously kind of developed from my low rim days.
yeah,
But I was always lobbing myself like to try to get a one hander, two hander, windmill, whatever it was.
yeah,
So, and I didn't have a very deep understanding about dunking. Like I didn't have a deep bag in dunking or whatever. Like basically, I literally went for one handers, two handers, reverses, um, and then I developed a windmill at that
yeah,
time.
yeah.
So
So that was your senior year. Senior year, you were generally born, jumping, playing basketball. So year after that, what would have been like your freshman year of college? Is that like when did you start? Like when did you like really lock in on dunking? Really?
I would say I'd probably say was it freshman year or sophomore year? I think it was in between freshman and sophomore year that summer is when
Yeah,
I started like figuring out about the dunk scene more. Because like I so the thing is I knew about dunk camp since 2018.
yeah.
So I knew about it
And
since
I
the
think you
start.
told me you like wanted to
Yeah.
go like every year.
Yeah. I wanted to go. I just obviously didn't have the money for it. And also I was just like, well, I can't dunk that good, so I'm not gonna go.
Yeah, and I
So
think that that's something that holds a lot of people back from going. Like if you can't dunk and you want to go to dunk camp, if you don't know what dunk camp is, first of all, dunk camp is a camp that is held by dunkers for dunkers. Happens in Utah every year, and then one other place. This year it's Wisconsin, and basically we just go, we all meet up, and we learn from the best in the world. This is not a promoted thing. I just love dunk camp right here.
yep,
Um, so yeah, I think one thing that is something that holds a lot of people back. They're like, "Oh, I can't dunk, so why would I go?" You know? And I could
exactly.
not disagree with that more. Like, um, if you can't dunk, that's an even better reason to go. You'll probably
Exactly.
get a dunk there. You'll learn so much. And if
So I
you
think
like
there's a
dunking, you get you do better, bro. Like I think there was like five new dunks last year, or five first
Dude,
dunks
that's what I was
last
gonna say.
year.
There's like an average of probably at least 2 to 3 people a year that get
I'd
their
say
first dunk at camp.
at least three. Both years I've
Yes.
gone, there's been three or four.
Yes.
Um, and the people that go, like Corey is an insane example. One guy
Yes.
named Corey, we got to have him on here for sure. He went, I think in
Dude.
2021, he got his first
Yeah, that was
dunk,
his
and then
first.
2 days later, he got his first windmill. So like you can see a ton of progress, and you'll never know unless you commit to it and go. So I mean, yeah, you're saying you knew about it forever, but you kind of held yourself back. Um, so you decided you when did you start like actually jump training, basically?
That was 2022 in like
Okay.
September or October. So the thing with that though, so that was on THP. So I
Hmm.
started THP around that time.
Were you on
But
full
the thing,
service or no? That's another
no,
thing.
I was paying for I think 3 months. So it was
Okay.
basically
And
just a
guys,
generic program.
yeah, just to explain that, like for a lot of coaching services, JumpX, THP, all those for the coaching services, not just typical programs. There's typically two options or many options, but generally there's just two that you need to know, and there's the coaching option and there's just the program option. One of them is obviously a lot more expensive than the other. Coaching is when you have like for THP's example, Isaiah and John like coaching you specifically, um, and the program version is literally just they just give you like a program to do. So you were on the program at the time, right? So
Yep.
you're not getting like that individualized thing or whatever. I would say from my experience, I mean, I've been on multiple programs before, just typical programs. I think I've tried like three or four, and they're generally like they're good. They're pretty good. I've seen increases in my weight room numbers, in my vertical, but I always like every single one I've done, I've hopped off eventually, just because
Yeah.
I've been like it's hard to. I mean, I'm generally a person that like um I would say a very like disciplined person when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like I'd never just like stop doing something. But
Mm,
specifically when it comes to programs, I often am like, because I have nobody really holding me accountable, I kind of like change things up, Like if there's
yeah.
something that I'm like, oh, I don't like this, it's not that I'm not going to do it, but I'm just going to switch it with something that I like better.
Yeah.
Because even though the people making them are a lot smarter than me, um, I often think that I know better and just do it anyway. So
Exactly.
I think that like for me, Tom and Austin are my coaches from Jump X, and they've been holding me accountable for I don't even know 5 6 months now, and I've seen my vertical go up like an insane amount. Like I went from getting my first East Bay in October to hitting like six or seven more and jumping way higher than ever. So I think
Yeah.
coaching is obviously a lot better if you can afford it. That was the thing. So um,
Yeah. It's quite
yeah, so you're on the
expensive.
program, like kind of just like talk about how that went. Like, did you do it
So that's the
all?
thing. Yeah. So that's the thing. For the first like 3 months, I'd say. So I'll just say I did.
Is this 2022 or 2023?
This is 2022, late 2022.
Okay.
So this is when I was having dunk sessions. Like this is I think that summer is when I started having like dunk sessions
Hmm.
almost weekly, or just like I
Yeah.
was just dunking whatever. I just had actual sessions.
Yeah.
But then I think it was October or November. I think it was October. I had to go down to Atlanta to get a sinus surgery, so that hindered my vertical program. So I was off of it for I think it was like 3 weeks.
Hmm.
And before the actual surgery, I had like a month or two that I was doing, but I wasn't doing it consistently. I was doing maybe it was a 5 or 6 day program that you're doing
Per
weekly.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was I was probably doing three maybe.
That's basically what I
So
did, bro. Like I'd
yeah,
like take the workouts and I'd put them in my schedule and then I'd just jump the other days.
yeah.
So
So I just wasn't consistent, and obviously that sinus surgery kind of I literally couldn't lift weights for like 3 weeks or something. So I kind of had to ease back into it as well. So that kind of like messed everything
yeah.
up. But
Hmm.
then after I would say like 3 or 4 months, I started like actually doing all the workouts. I started going consistently.
Hmm.
Um, and then that's when I really started to see gains. So that for that first like 3 to 4 months, I didn't see a single gain in vertical
Hmm.
Knee pain didn't go down, whatever. So like nothing happened within 3 to 4 months. As soon as I started going consistently and doing every single lift, if not maybe miss one or two every like 1 or 2 months or something like that for whatever
Yeah.
reason. Not for like
Yeah.
I'm skipping, it's just like I have different reasons, whatever.
Yeah.
That's when I started seeing some progress, and I saw it probably within, I'd say, at least 3 weeks. I saw at least a little bit of um, progress through that, and
Yeah. So we're talking, so like late 2023. I mean, sorry, late 2022
22, yes,
was when you kind of were like going inconsistently, and then you kind of started like right when 2023
basically,
started,
yeah,
basically.
2023, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's when I
And so
kind of
then
had
that's
this
also when
huge
you
jump.
kind of, that's when you also kind of started getting more involved, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
'Cause I
I
was
think,
posting on TikTok at that time. I started posting, I think,
okay, I got,
summer of 2022 is when I
yeah.
think I started posting, like June or something. But
Yeah.
I was probably posting like once a week, maybe
Yeah.
something like
All right.
that. So like not consistent.
I got a good question actually. So
All
would you
right.
say that like when you started posting and like getting more involved with the dunk community, would you say that that is a reason why you got more consistent and like were more motivated to like go train and stuff?
I actually haven't thought about that, but now that I think about it, yes, 100%.
Yeah. That
Because
is another thing, bro. That's another thing that I
it's
tell
like
people. Like we hold you accountable, bro. Dunk community holds you
exactly
accountable.
because the thing is like obviously nobody really, so leading up to camp nobody really knew me. Obviously I talked to you,
Yeah.
I think I talked to Travis, I think I talked to Dom a little bit, like I talked to people, like not a lot, but like I just talked to some people,
Yeah.
but they didn't really know me.
Yeah.
um so like I didn't really have a lot of people that to talk to or whatever to keep me
Hmm.
accountable, but like I would get comments every so often from people like, hey, you're looking good, like your progress is going good and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So like one a good example, I think it's Zay Dunks or whatever. I think that's how you say his handle or whatever. Um, he was like
I'm not
tracking my
sure right
progress for
now.
a little bit. Like he folled me pretty early on.
Balls Life
Um,
Zay or someone else?
no, it's I think it's like Zay underscore Dunks or something like that.
Let me look it up.
Um, he hasn't posted in a while, but um,
I'm sure I know who you're talking about, but
yeah,
oh,
it's
is it Zay with two Y's? This is the guy with two Y's.
or ZAI, I think is what it is.
Oh, oh, okay. The guy from Texas?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong person. Yeah, I know who that
yeah.
is.
So
Yeah, he's dope.
he was probably one of the early on guys. Obviously, you kind of were there as well, but
Hopped on the
for him on
bandwagon.
my yeah, but he kind of like followed my progress a little bit, and then all of a sudden he didn't like go on TikTok or just didn't follow my stuff for a while.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden he's just like, dude, what happened to you? Like you're just
I
going
remember. I
crazy
remember
now.
you told me about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
So like just like having
Around that
comments
time,
like that.
you probably were like East Bay at that time, or you hit a East Bay at that time, right? A
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
months before camp, or was it like a month before camp?
It was a month. I think my first
That's
dunk was
crazy.
or my first I think my first East Bay was late May of 2023. I think. Yeah. My first East Bay was late 2023 May. So, um and then at camp I think I hit 3 or 4 East Bays. So a
That's
month later I
insane,
hit three
bro.
or four East Bays, something like that. So it was crazy, but like my progress with THP has just been insane. Like so obviously I started seeing like a really big jump probably I want to say 4 or 5 months after I started really going consistent.
Mhm.
So kind of like that April Mayish area is kind of when I saw like a big jump. Like I was barely windmilling, I was barely doing this, and then all of a sudden I just had this huge jump, like literally a month before camp, where I was like getting like 3 to 4 windmills a session. I was doing some other new dunks. I hit my first East Bay. Like I was just doing stuff that I don't usually do, and then that's how my progress has been for basically up until this point now. So
Yeah. I mean, like, what was your camp experience like? Because I remember, like, when I saw you at camp, you like said, "Hey, Dylan," and I was like, "Hey," and
yeah, like
I didn't even like know who you were. I mean,
yeah,
it wasn't that I didn't know who you were. But the thing is, like, this has happened to me like 5 times at camp, bro. Like, someone will say hi to me, and I'll be like, "Hey," and I like will like
Yeah,
like try to act like I know who it is, and then
yeah,
later I'll like see a video that they posted, and I'm like, "Oh shoot, that's who it was," because I never
yeah,
you never see people like face to face. Like I see their
yeah.
back dunking,
So
but
so with my camp experience, I was going into it. Obviously, I was really excited. I bought it 6 months in advance. So right when it came out, I bought it. Obviously, I was training as hard as possible leading up to it. So I get to camp. Um, I think you obviously, besides like at the hotel when I was talking to people that, or just at the airport when I got there, I was talking to people. But like the first
mhm.
person I talked to getting to actual dunk camp was you. So that, you were the first person I talked to. I think I went to up to Dom as well, and you guys had like the same reaction. You're like, "Do I know you?" Or like you just like look confused. Obviously, when
Bro,
I was
that
like, "Oh yeah, I'm Hunter dot Dunks," and then you're like, "Oh okay, yeah."
oh yeah, bro.
But it's like nobody like still knew me at the time. Like there's a bunch of people that still didn't even know who I was at all. Like
Yeah,
so, I wasn't going in with like high expectations on like going crazy or anything like that. It's just I was just going there to obviously see the pros, see a bunch of the guys I've seen
yeah.
on social
And
media.
that's a big thing too. Is like just seeing the
Yeah,
pros is amazing by itself.
yeah. So, um, obviously I saw the obviously the first thing we did was test vertical, and
Mhm.
I got a 37.5 inch vert.
Was that what you
Um,
expected? Lower, higher?
I didn't know what to expect because I never tested my vert ever
Yeah,
before. That was the first
yeah,
time I ever tested my vert, ever used a Vertec in my entire life.
yeah.
So again, I didn't
Vertec
have
is a
any expect.
Vertec is a skill, man. It's
It is
such a weird
100%.
testing system. I mean, it's the most accurate, but I hate I hate Vertex.
Yeah, I feel that as well.
Yeah,
But like again, I didn't have any expectations going into camp just because I didn't know what to expect. It's my first year. I've never
yeah,
been the best dunk I saw before going to camp was a windmill from somebody else. So
yeah,
that was the best dunk I've ever seen by somebody else was a windmill, and I was at like an AAU tournament or something.
yeah.
And um,
I don't think I've ever seen a between legs dunk in person besides maybe at an NBA like warm ups or something. I don't think I've ever seen a between legs dunk
yeah,
by anyone except like you, Gideon, and then dunk camp people. So
yeah. But so obviously the first day was like the pro session and everything. Like I
mhm.
was
Insane session.
obviously just trying to take that in. Obviously there's a bunch of people there trying to dunk as well. I tried getting in there. I think I hit one windmill and I tried to East Bay and then I just didn't end up dunking with them anymore. And then that's kind of after that I had my first session.
That was on day one,
And
right? Like after their
yeah,
session, basically.
yeah, that was day one.
You
And then
might have to do
also
that
fun,
again this year, bro.
yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. Obviously, I don't want to just barge in, but like I think I'll be a little bit more lenient, or they'll be a little bit more lenient of me doing it now.
I
But
hope they will for me, but I highly doubt it. So,
but the funny thing
whatever.
is with Dylan is he was on the 9 foot court, and um, so I go over there because I was just like, yeah,
This
I
idiot
see
comes
Dylan over
over to my
there.
court.
Yeah, and he's just doing whatever, and then I do one single dunk, and it was a windmill, and my head was at rim, maybe over rim, punched
No,
it,
neck
and
neck was at the rim.
okay, okay, neck
It
at
looked
rim.
it just looks stupid, bro, because it's like I'm like the tallest person on that court. I'm like 5'10". Everyone else is like 5'8", 5'6". And then
Yeah,
this dude comes over there, punches the windmill. I'm like shoving him over. I'm like, bro, go dunk with them. Like you're making me look
yeah,
bad. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, he should have been over there the whole time. But I mean, I don't blame you. Like I did the same thing. So I
I
mean,
was just getting in like,
I wanted nothing more to dunk with the pros, and I think I would have had a pretty crazy session if I did. But at the same time, I suck compared to them. So,
yeah.
like,
Even I still suck compared to them. Like,
I'm insane compared to the average person, but at dunk camp, that's not really the case. And I always feel
exactly.
like I'm like, oh, I don't really want to dunk. I mean, I want to dunk with them, but I don't want
Oh
them to
yeah,
get pissed off. So,
exactly.
so
But yeah, so I
Hunter, we have apparently there's only like three
three
minutes and
minutes.
30
Yeah,
seconds left on here.
yeah.
So I think we probably just stop it and restart it.
All right,
if
let's
that
do that
works. You
then.
think
That's
that'll work?
probably.
All right, we can yap about dunk camp a little bit more for a couple minutes, but yeah,
Yeah.
then we'll restart this real quick. But yeah, I mean, dunk camp, you dunked 3 of the 4 days, am I right? That
Monday,
is
Tuesday,
stupid.
Thursday.
I
So I
was
technically
I
dunked
was
four
mad at
days.
you. I was mad at
Technically.
you. I was mad at you for that. Not gonna lie. Because you told me you dunked on Tuesday, and I was like, "What are you doing, bro? You got to be in the 10-foot dunk contest on Thursday, and you're spending all your energy on Tuesday." I
Yeah, but I still hit my
was like,
best
"Bro,
dunk
what?"
ever at that point. So
Yeah, that was insane. And then how did contests go for you? I mean, you can talk about what you were thinking about doing
yeah,
before the
yeah.
contest. So
So obviously I dunked Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday I was feeling it a lot. Like I was cramping up after. But then obviously Wednesday was a rest day. I didn't even put my shoes on at all. And then Thursday obviously was the contest. And we could test our vert, but I didn't test my vert again.
me neither.
But I going into camp, I was planning on doing the 9 foot contest
Yeah,
going into camp because again, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't think I was like good enough to be in the 10 foot
I would have been.
contest. Like,
I would have been screwed. Would have been
but
rough.
well, I mean, the inverted scorpion that you hit, I don't know if I could really top anything
Yeah,
with that.
well,
So,
my other dunk was terrible. So I didn't even do it right. I
but
was so pissed off, but
but
got
yeah,
the
I
job
talked
done.
to because
Whatever.
that's the thing. I talked to a bunch of people and they all said to just do 10. So
Yeah.
they're just they saw me dunk.
You know what I asked Jordan before the 9-foot contest?
What?
I asked him if it was a good idea for me to try to do a handoff between the legs elbow. And he was
Really?
like, "Have you ever done that before?" And I was like, no." I was like, "No, but I just kind of want to try it." And he's like, "Well, if you're trying something for the first time in a contest, that's probably not a great idea." And then I asked him, "All right, well, do you think I should try inverted scorpion?" And he's like, "Well, you could like you looks like you're getting pretty consistent with it, but
Yeah.
it only he didn't he did not sound confident that I was gonna make that in contest.
Yeah.
He wasn't even there when it happened. That was sad. But as
Dang.
soon as he came back, I was like running to him, showing the video. It was kind of stupid, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, he's just been huge inspiration to me, huge help to me, and it was oh, what the heck, bro. Um, all right, well,
I have to
let's
reset it. Yeah.
yeah,
We have
I
less
don't know
than a
what the
minute right
heck's going
now.
on. All right, well, we're just gonna reset this podcast. And we will hop back on.
Yeah.
All right, peace out.
All right.
All right. I apologize for the brief interruption. I got to figure that out. For some reason, my Zoom is limited at 45 minutes, but shouldn't take us more than another 45 minutes. So
Yeah.
um, we just kind of went over dunk camp. So at this point, let's just do a little summary. So at this
Yeah.
point, you've been training for around 6 months, right? Hard on
Yep.
THP.
Yep.
You've seen your
Just doing
vertical
the
go up.
program.
You went from, let's just say, like kind of windmilling to East Band, right?
Yep.
So after you come back from dunk camp, you come back in June, and would you say what was the next thing you did? Like, what the next big thing you did? Probably September.
Actually, no. It was in July. I created
Oh yeah,
with the Wisconsin Dunkers with some of the
yep,
obviously the guys now.
yeah,
So actually at camp, I funny story. So kind of going back to camp with the dunk contest,
yeah.
there was in the finals. So there was 4 finalists. 3 out of the 4 guys were from Wisconsin.
That's crazy.
And the thing is John John comes up and asks, he's just like, they're just like asking like where we're from, and then obviously me, JJ, and CJ are all from Wisconsin. We all say Wisconsin. He's like, "Do you guys know each other?" We're like, "No, we have no clue who they are." And
That's
he's like, are you guys serious right now?" We're like, "Yeah, we've never met before. We didn't even know each other going into this." So that's
mm,
kind of how the Wisconsin Dunker
squad
thing kind of
started.
happened. Yeah, and then
Yeah,
obviously later found out Jeffrey was also from Wisconsin. So
yeah,
kind of that's kind of when everybody was kind of making their own dunk like teams a little bit. I know
yeah.
when did you start yours? Did you start yours kind of after
I
camp too?
started. I think I started mine right before yours, basically.
yeah. It was. I think we were
So
right around the same time.
I think it was
So
literally like 2 days before we like formalized it.
yeah,
So yeah, I started mine Minnesota Dunk Squad. At the time, it was me. The first session pretty much was me, Jason, Justin, and Gideon. That was like the initial five, and
yeah.
since then we've expanded a lot. We got T Dub on the roster now, so I mean, pretty
Yeah.
solid. But
That's crazy.
dunk with him on Wednesday, by the way, so I have another session with him.
That'd be
But
dope.
yeah, I mean the dunk team starting. I think that dunk camp 2023 was an insane year because it kind of brought all those people together like that. We've
Yeah,
never really seen teams like this, or at least I haven't. I mean,
yeah.
back in the day, there used to be
I
like,
think there was the
there are a bunch
Utah.
of Utah was really the only one. There was one in Winona,
Yeah,
actually. There's one in Melbourne, probably some other ones around. I know that there's obviously been group sessions forever, like when they used to do them at USF. Even like Killian was down there. But I think that just the insane like spread of actual groups was a pretty crazy part of
yeah,
dunk camp. Um, so yeah, I mean, after that, I'd say that I mean, you hit a lot of new dunks in that period of like at and after camp.
yeah. I
Like,
hit I
what
think
would you say like
five new dunks.
what
Yeah, I
would you
think it's
say
five new
like
dunks.
what would you say like just off the top of your head like the notable ones of that time period were?
Windmill off the backboard, one hand windmill off the backboard, um, reverse windmill. What else is there? Let's see. I didn't hit anything new
Reverse
at.
pump 1 foot East Bay.
Yep, 1 foot East Bay I hit at camp. That's right. I didn't hit anything in my first Wisco session, Wisconsin Dunker session. Um,
Side backboard windmill.
oh
I mean side backboard dunk, but yeah.
yeah, that was there was that one, and then also hit in like August. I hit um what was it called? I guess one hand reverse windmill, basically.
Oh yeah, that was
Um,
tough.
and then had uh had this one thing happen, and I kind of went crazy after that happened. So I'm not gonna get into it, but uh, something kind of gave me some determination, and I eventually hit 2 weeks after it happened. I hit East Bay off the backboard for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And
I
then
mean, I would say I didn't expect that from you at all. I don't think anyone
yeah,
did.
no,
That's an insane dunk, and I mean, it was like first day you tried it, you back room
oh, I
like 20
background five of
times
them. I background
at
five,
least. Bro, that was insane.
and I was barely East Baying consistently, and then I was just like, you know what, I'm just trying East Bay off the backboard, and then I hit a pump off the backboard as well.
Oh yeah,
Also hit pump at camp for pump at camp.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so I've hit probably in that time period of like dunk, like before dunk camp and
yeah,
September. I think I've hit 10 to 15 new dunks in that time
yeah.
period.
At least, yeah. I mean,
So
I would say after that, obviously the first time after camp that we met again was in September. I would say that in like at dunk camp is kind of when we like actually like got to know each other quite a bit, and
yeah,
we had talked about you coming here. But then I don't even remember like how it came up, but we just
I
randomly
don't
decided
either.
like we
Yeah,
just kind of decided like we got to make this happen. We got to get you here. So I rented out a gym. It's my first time dunking at that gym. Turns out we love that gym. I've gone there countless times
iconic.
since then.
It's iconic
Um,
now.
yeah. So he drove down here, stayed for Friday. We did drive-by dunks. We went and dunked at random people's houses. That was pretty fun. And then
Kind
the
of
day
brought that
after,
challenge back.
yeah, the day after, we went to the National Sports Center, and we both went pretty crazy. I hit my best dunk at the time off the wall windmill. Hit like two, three other new dunks. He hit like freaking five new dunks,
I think it was six new
at least
dunks.
five. Yeah, and I taught
It's
him how
because
to
it
double
was
up.
that was the first time I had a wall, so I think I hit three dunks off the wall. Obviously, you got me to do a double up, so I hit a
Yeah,
double up. I probably hit something else too, but yeah. So I hit, and I'm pretty sure this is when it kind of. I think August was late August is when I started my dunk streak. I'm pretty sure. So
Oh yeah,
I think this was like 4 or 5 weeks in of my
yeah.
dunk streak. So if you guys don't know what
Didn't
my dunk
Jeff just
streak
hit 30?
was, yes. So I'm just gonna kind of explain, just kind of explain what the dunk streak means. So basically, I kind of kept track, and John at dunk camp, kind of going back to that, he was like saying you guys should be trying new dunks, just kind of make your body uncomfortable, just so you can try different things, your body can adapt. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna try hitting a new dunk every single session from now on. So
Hmm.
that's what I started doing. I started hitting new dunks. Like it could be one dunk, or I think the highest I've had is 6 dunks in one session, like new dunks. So for 19 weeks straight, I hit, or 19 sessions straight, I hit at least one new dunk. And again, there was some that had 2 dunks in there, 3 dunks, 4, 5, you name it. Like there's plenty of dunks, new dunks that I've hit.
Yeah, and that's a
So
great strategy to get better at dunking. I mean, not it's not like all of those were between the legs off the backboard. Like there were some
yeah,
of
some
them
of
that
them were
were
like
like
simples.
easier ones, but
Yeah, there's
um
also some really hard ones as well.
yeah, so that's great. Like if you're not jumping well, there's almost always a dunk that you can hit while not jumping well, and it
Or
really
even just
pushes you to
repping it
just
out.
expand the bag. Yeah. I mean,
Just even if you're not jumping
you
high enough to even get it, you can still rep
why
out
did you
dunks.
why'd you kind of stop the streak? Like, because I'm sure you could have kept it going, but
Yeah. So one of the reasons kind of going, so I think this was definitely 2024. I
mhm.
just don't remember exactly what month it was, maybe February.
Yeah, it was early
Um
2024. I remember.
yeah. So basically I got burnt out with just kind of everything, not really dunking and social media. I mean kind of dunking. But with lifting, I was still working really hard on my lifts. I was almost going harder in the weight room at the time. But with just dunking and social media, I just kind of got burnt out because I was always being like, "Oh, I need to hit this new dunk because I want to keep the streak going." So, and then that's kind of what led up to my worst session in like a year or whatever. So,
Yeah.
and then my ideas just weren't flowing. Like I could just look at a video or like edit my videos, and then all of a sudden be like, "Oh, I can do this for a dunk idea. I can do this for
Yeah.
a dunk video, whatever." And then they just weren't flowing. Like I was barely getting like 2 videos out per session again. So I
Yeah.
was just like, I just took a break off of social media for about a month. Um, I wanted to do at least 2 weeks, but I actually went up to a month, and I couldn't be happier. Obviously, I missed quite a bit of stuff that happened, but like it definitely helped me a ton with my mental health and just basically getting back on track to where I was. And
Just enjoying it
it's
again. Yeah.
yeah, basically because I was still recording my sessions. I just wasn't posting it. I didn't edit anything, so I didn't touch editing at all. So I just had the sessions in my camera roll. Yeah, I looked at some of the dunks that I did or whatever. I just didn't edit them.
Mhm.
Didn't do any drafts. Didn't do anything like
Yeah.
that. Didn't I literally I didn't delete Instagram, but like I kept like a 1 minute time limit. So I'd occasionally like go on there and just kind of see for like a minute just to kind of be caught up with
Yeah.
like your stuff or with Jordan or just like the guys that I usually follow quite a bit, like
Yeah.
heavily. So um
Yeah.
I just kind of basically got burnt out. But then again, after that really bad session that I had a session with Nolan and some other guys, and I had like one of my best sessions I had in a while.
Yeah.
So it's like just because I had this really, really bad session doesn't mean that's like the dunker that you are. Cause I was in a bad place, not like bad place, but like my motivation wasn't there. Like I was just like, oh, I suck now. Like I'm
Yeah.
going down a rabbit
I
hole.
would say
So
I would say you never know how good you are until you dunk in a good gym, with high adrenaline. Like if you're
yes,
dunking at some crappy outdoor court, or if you're dunking by yourself, or if you're dunking with bad shoes, or like there's tons of things. Like once all those things
yes,
match up, that's the real dunker you are. Like obviously you're gonna have good days, bad days, but like, if I was to make a dunk mix right now, I'm not gonna include the clips that I have in my driveway on 10 feet, not dunking good with nobody else. Because they're not even close to what I look like in a gym with this guy. Like,
yeah,
you gotta
not even
realize that. So
exactly. It's
I would
like
say I would say you're probably or my like favorite session I've had in forever, I guess, was October. That was a pretty crazy day.
100%. I mean,
Um,
that's probably one of the best, if not the most memorable day for both of us as
yeah,
single dunks that
100%.
we've hit. because you hit obviously your first East Bay at 15
Yeah.
years old, which is just absolutely absurd. He got his first East Bay at 15. I got my first dunk at 15. That's just crazy in itself. Um, and then obviously I hit an under both for the first time, which was like my end goal dunk. So basically, when I started in September of 2022, I made a goal for myself saying in like 2 to 3 years, I wanted to hit it under both, or like that was my end goal dunk. Like just being like, if I hit that dunk, like I'm very, very satisfied with myself. And like,
Mm.
that's just what I wanted to hit. And I hit it within basically a year, like just over a year. And it's just crazy that like I had no clue that was going to happen that quickly. I didn't think I was going to be doing that good at camp. I didn't think I was going to get um a dunk squad. I didn't think I was going to be dunking with you in Minnesota. Like I didn't think I was going to be traveling to different places just to dunk, like just have
Yeah.
sessions with people. Like
Yeah.
if you would have told me that a year ago, I would have said like, or a year and a half ago, I would have said you're crazy. Like there's no way.
Yeah. It's
So
it's it's crazy what a year can do, man. Um,
exactly.
I would say we got to get this going here. We've been going for
Yeah.
forever. I could do this for forever, but
Exactly. We mean you could both talk
we
for
could literally
hours.
do this for forever. I mean, we're gonna be doing this a lot more, by the way. So make sure to stay tuned.
Yes.
Hunter, I probably should have mentioned this at the start, but Hunter is gonna be basically a co-host on here. We're gonna kind of be both the host. We're gonna
Yeah.
be interviewing a ton of guys. Like I literally have like a list of like 10 guys who have all volunteered as tribute.
Which is awesome, and
And we
it's
already
it's gonna
got
be very cool.
and it's not just like amateur guys like this bum. It's like we got
Yeah,
pros. We got pros on this list, bro. That we will be getting going soon. So it's not just gonna
yeah,
be us crappy dunkers. We'll get really crazy guys on here soon.
yeah.
Um, so I would say after October, you hit your best dunk. You had a couple crazy sessions after that. I remember behind the back out dribble that session with your between the legs two hand reverse.
Hmm.
Um, and then you went to Florida this year, and I
With
mean,
the THP
you can,
guys.
yeah, you can kind of explain that for a minute, but that seemed like a really cool experience for sure.
Hmm. So I end up obviously I've been on THP. So actually, another guy that we're really good friends with and we talk to quite a bit is Dom Dunks. So I was talking to him for a little bit, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to Florida to meet up with John and stuff." Because he tore
Mm,
his quad in a dunk contest, so he was going to there to kind of like rehab with them and just kind of do things for I think it was like a week and a half or 2 weeks. And then
yep.
all of a sudden he's like, you should honestly see if you can come, like ask John or Isaiah if you can come. I'm like, they're not gonna say yeah, like whatever, like because I didn't really know them like that well at the time. Um, so I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna see what happens. So I asked them, and then John was just like, heck yeah, like please come. I
Yeah.
was like blown away. I just wasn't expecting it. Um, so then obviously I went down to Florida. I went for basically an extended weekend, so got there. I think I was a Wednesday night or something like that. And obviously I lifted with them a little bit, hung out. And then obviously we had a session, so we actually dunked at UCF, which is the practice facility. It was an official 10-foot rim. Only thing that sucked about it is everybody kind of had a fatigue session,
Yeah.
except for me. Dom hit his first dunk back after his quad tear, so that was really cool to see and be a part of. But like Isaiah, John, Austin, Nathan, RJ, like they all were so fatigued, and like just there was hype, but there also wasn't at the same time.
Made you look good.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely made me look good. So a funny story with that as well is so obviously I hit an East Bay pretty early on, first try, probably my best East Bay I've ever hit.
Best
And it was
East
on
Bay
official
ever for
10
sure.
foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Isaiah in his video, if you guys didn't watch it, he's like, first East Bay of the session, like that's crazy or whatever. So then he comes out, he's still like, he's basically still warming up. Like he's not fully warmed at all. And then he just does a casual 360 East Bay,
Like
literally
a
right
walk
after
up.
my dunk. Yeah, literally walks into it 360 East Bay. I'm blown away because he was just not jumping good. And then he says after he dunks, he's like, I can't let the young buck show me up.
That was so
So,
funny, bro.
which is just kind of crazy to hear from him.
Yeah.
And then I was attempting under both. I think I back rimmed one, front rimmed one. And he's like, yeah, if you would have hit that, I went to one up you again. Like you can have it.
Yeah.
So, so it was just kind of it was a really fun experience. and I got some lifting tips from them. And then also another crazy thing is that Isaiah, or we were kind of doing like an interview, and I did my kind of testimony from what they've done for me, and how I've done on their training, whatever. So I gained basically in between 10 to 15 inches of vert since being on THP. And then John was like asking about my weight room numbers, and then all of a sudden he asked Isaiah to come over to the camera, and he's like, if what do you think Hunter's vertical can be at if he gets like I think it was like a 315 squat and like 225 power clean or something, and then he goes 50.
Yeah.
So like just hearing that from arguably the best dunker in the world right now, like it's just insane to hear that when I've only been doing this for about a year and a half consistently now, and that he can see that much like
Yeah.
what's the word
Potential.
for it, potential. Like it's just kind of crazy because he has a 50.5 inch vert. Like it's just crazy to hear that he thinks that I can
Mm.
get there if I get my weight room numbers up. So it
Yeah.
was just kind of another eye opener. So I think the first eye opener was dunk camp. Kind of dunking with you is another eye opener, and then that Florida session was definitely another eye opener for me. So
Yeah. So after that, what month was that? Do you remember what month that was?
was that was that before or after March?
It was before. Yeah, it was before.
So oh yeah, it was early March. Early March. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, but like during that time, were you hurt or was it right after?
No, I
Right
was not
after?
hurt at all. Nope. I then after right after that, the next week. So basically, I went to Florida. Then the next week after that, I had a 4 hour 10 foot session,
Yeah, I
and
remember
then
that.
had like a then I had a couple like 10 foot sessions here and there. And then I started getting that like weird Achilles flare up. Like I call it a flare up, even though I never had Achilles pain before. It just all of a sudden started hurting. Like I didn't hurt it,
Yeah.
but I just started getting pain. So,
Yeah.
um, but
So
yeah,
yeah, I mean you were kind of struggling with that Achilles pain when you were here. Hunter came here for a third time in late March. I think it was March 30th
30th.
that we
Yep.
dunked. Um, so yeah, and when he was here, he, I mean, you jumped pretty good. Like you hit some
Yeah.
really good dunks, but I mean, I would say you dunked good. You probably didn't jump your best.
Yeah.
Um,
For sure. Like
but
my
it was
technique
still,
was like was on for sure.
your
It's just my
technique was
jumping.
very on. But yeah, I'd say you
It's
were kind of jumping like you were scared almost. And I have those days a lot, especially with
yeah.
knee pain. Like, especially
Yeah.
tendinopathy, like it like mentally limits you. Like even if you're like not even like thinking
Yeah.
about it, like my knees when they hurt, like let's just say I have a 3 out of 10 pain in my quad tendinopathy left knee. Um, like it's not like I can't jump. Like I can go jump just fine, especially if I warm up.
Yeah.
But like I'm subconsciously limiting myself the entire
Also,
time.
your body is also kind of
Yeah,
doing it
your
on its
body's
own as well.
smarter than you.
Like, exactly. So your body is gonna basically shut up before your mind does.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But I'd say that was still a good session. When you came
oh
back,
yeah, 100%.
it was an insane session for sure. When you came back though, you were still kind of like you were still hurt. Like what would you say?
So
Like what'd
that
you
was
do to
probably that
recover from
session
that?
was. So I'll kind of like explain like kind of what my pain symptoms were at. So that was after that, it was probably like a 1 or 2 out of 10. So it wasn't like
Yeah,
anything terrible. And
it
then
was
after that,
definitely
went to
there.
another 1 out of 2, and then went to 2 out of 3, and then went to like a 5 out of 6. So
That's
that
pretty
five out of
good.
six session, it was I only jumped for like 30 minutes. I had a huge drop off. So I think I hit like one hander, two hander, pump, windmill, and then I was trying East Bays, and I could barely get the ball over the rim on
Yeah,
East
that
Bays. And then
happens. Those are the worst.
all of a sudden my knee or my Achilles just started to hurt really bad. I'm just like, I'm cutting it because again,
Yeah,
if you guys didn't know, CJ Champion tore his Achilles, so that's a really long
yeah, really
recovery
weird injury.
process. So I'm just like, I'm not even gonna try like going through
Yeah,
this because again, this is the first time I ever had pain, so I don't know
yeah,
really what to do for
yeah,
it. So ended up taking a break after that week, and then the following week after that break, I did a 9 foot session. It felt pretty good. I did so I was on load management. Just got off load management basically, so I'm kind of getting back in the swing of things, but I was on load management doing very slow isometrics and very slow eccentric, like calf raises, stuff like that. Very high intensity, not high intensity, but just a lot of calf isos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
So
then so
you
I had that
doing
9 foot session. It was good.
nine
Then I had a nine and a
six?
half. Yep, 9.6 or it was 9.5. I'm pretty sure. It
Yeah,
felt
whatever.
really good. Like that session was really, really good. I was very happy with
Yeah.
that session. Jumping was good. Technique was good.
Yep.
Then I had a 10 foot session with my Wisconsin guys, and that one didn't go the way I wanted it to. Still felt good. Like my Achilles was still
Yeah.
fine. I think
Yeah.
it probably got up to maybe a two, if that. It was definitely at a one. Was definitely feeling some type of discomfort, but wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah.
Just wasn't jumping the best. And then obviously this past week, if you guys didn't know, I went to Missouri to go dunk
Yep.
with
I
Josh Dunks and
just watched the video
also
like an hour
yeah.
ago.
So
Donovan. We got to get
yeah,
Donovan on here actually. We
for real,
definitely got
dude.
to get
His
Don.
story is gonna be crazy.
I'm so curious about his story.
Dude,
You def
dude, his he like I obviously talked to him a little bit
yeah.
beforehand. And then
You
obviously when
gotta
I was there,
talk.
I was talking to him.
You gotta talk to him for me because
Oh, I
that is
got
like
you.
when I had this idea to start this, that he was one of the first people that I was like, I really want to learn
Yeah,
more about him because he's insane, bro.
that that obviously him, and then the big one that I want to like talk to and just know about is Dan Gross.
Oh my gosh,
He's
yeah.
dude, he's a one that I want to like pick his brain
Oh,
about. Like
I'm messaging him tomorrow for sure, bro.
like
For
that's
sure.
one guy that I haven't seen in person that I want to see in person so bad. I
Yeah,
just want to know what goes through his mind on some of his
yeah.
dunk ideas, like the wind variations that he's been doing, just some of the
It's
360 variations.
ridiculous.
Like it is so insane. Like, I just want
Yeah,
to ask so many questions
yeah.
about
Same,
him.
bro.
But going off the Missouri stuff, I went to Missouri,
Look pretty
jumped with
good.
Josh and
Go watch the
Donovan.
session.
Yes, sir. I'll be getting my YouTube up at some point. Having some difficulties with the camera,
Yeah,
so just getting that footage off of the camera. But um, that session was pretty good. Obviously, seeing Donovan in person is insane.
yeah. He's crazy.
He's definitely one of the highest jumpers I've ever seen in person. Very, very powerful. Everything's very quick.
Yeah,
And he does it
yeah,
so nonchalant too. So,
yeah.
and then Josh was jumping extremely high, dunking hard. And then we had like
Next
10 other
episode,
guys dunking.
next episode, we got Josh on here, so stay tuned because he's definitely gonna have a cool story too. I'm very
Oh
curious
yeah,
about a lot of things about him.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think your recovery is looking pretty good right now, especially after watching the
100%.
session. I mean,
Yeah,
hit it between the legs, which looked really good first time in a long time, actually, isn't it?
yeah. Actually, these spaces have been
Yeah,
really weird for me. Like
yeah.
they're just
I mean,
like
forget the East Bay
I
though.
don't
You
even
also
know
had like under both backboard between the legs, like all your best dunks were really close. So that's a really good sign. Um,
exactly.
so I mean, as we kind of close this out, like what are your goals for the next couple months? Are we gonna see Hunter back in Minnesota in June? Like, what's the word, bro?
So I guess we'll kind of see about the whole Minnesota
We
thing
gotta
in
see
June,
if
just
we gotta see if
because.
Mister I'm not gonna say his name, but you know Mister 1 foot something or other
Yeah, that's
comes here.
if
Not
he
Sutherland,
goes.
not Sutherland,
Yeah,
not
if he
Sutherland,
goes,
but someone
I'm
else.
almost obligated to go because
Yeah,
that's
bro.
how I was with Donovan. I
Uh-huh.
heard that Donovan was coming. I was just like, yep, I'm going 100%.
Yep.
So if that happens, I'm definitely coming. If not,
I need to
I'm
see
trying to
this
have a
guy. I need
dude.
to see this guy in person,
It's
especially
dude,
after
he's
the
nuts.
videos he's been sending us, bro.
Oh my gosh! But
Oh my goodness.
other than that, I'm probably gonna do some trying to get some Wisconsin dunker sessions. So actually, so basically, I think this next weekend I'm trying to get
Let's do it.
Wisconsin dunker session, and then so either the 1st of June or the 15th, I think, are the 2 days that we can do. And then obviously, I'm not gonna jump that weekend of camp.
Yeah.
And obviously, in a month, we're gonna be at camp.
Yeah.
Goals for that, I mean, vertical for sure. I would like to test a
40
45, but
plus.
again, it's 40 plus for
45.
sure.
Holy
But
crap.
if I mean if I could get 45, that'd be
If you
insane.
hit
But like
45, I'll give
obviously,
you
it's a
20
goal.
bucks. If you hit
All right,
45, I'll give you 20 bucks. If I hit
it's
43,
a
you owe
goal.
me.
So
If I hit 43, you owe me 20 bucks.
all right.
That's a little bit too much money. I'm not paying you 20 bucks. But
Um, but
yeah,
just okay, yeah. I'll just say over 40.
yeah.
definitely a goal is to win the contest this year. I'm gonna have some pretty tough competition with Mason being there.
Yeah,
Um, but the thing is that obviously with the dunk camp, if you do win that contest, you actually get invited to a FIBA 3x3 contest, which
crazy.
that's one of my big goals right now is to get into a contest like that size. So that's definitely something that I really want to prepare for and
Yeah,
win that. So that's definitely something. I mean, other than that, I just want to hit my best dunks possible.
yep.
Another dunk that I really want to hit would be obviously another under both, but under both off the backboard. I know it's definitely a hard one. I've only really attempted it like once or twice.
You just saw
But
it
again,
yesterday, so
adrenaline, yeah, adrenaline goes crazy. So it could be a potential
yeah,
new dunk for me. Obviously, just hit a couple new dunks, whatever, and then just go off. So my plan
yeah,
is to dunk 2 days at camp. So Monday and Thursday is my plan
yeah.
for
Same.
this year.
All right. Well, we went way
So
over the time that we were planning on going, but
that's all
whatever.
right.
That's what happens when you're talking
It's an
about something.
introduction one. So
Yeah, that's what happens when you're talking about something that you care about. So, make
exactly.
sure to stay tuned because Hunter will be back in a lot of other episodes. We might have to do a part two to be honest, because there's just so much that we didn't even get to cover. Yeah. We're gonna come back tomorrow with another podcast featuring the guy that he just dunked with a couple days
Josh.
ago, Josh Rebel, insane dunker. Made some insane progress this year as
Yeah, his
well.
progress has been
So
crazy.
yeah, make sure to stay
Another
tuned for
THP
that.
guy.
Yes, sir. If you're new, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to leave a positive review, preferably 5 stars if you're on Spotify or Apple. And yeah, just comment some requests on who you want to see on here, what topics you want to see covered. And yeah, we'll
Yep.
see you guys in the next video. Hunter, where can I find you on social media?
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at hunter.dunks. And then on YouTube is Hunter Dunks without a dot or period. So
Yeah,
those are my three.
I'll put it in the description as well of
Yeah.
YouTube. So
So those are my three
yeah,
main. Trying to post more YouTube videos. Obviously, I usually only post when I have bigger sessions. So,
yeah.
but otherwise on TikTok and Instagram, I'm almost posting daily. Trying to post daily. So you guys
Yeah.
can find me there. So
All right. Well, Hunter, thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for
thanks for
listening.
having me,
And yeah, tune in tomorrow. See you guys later.
sir. See ya.